Here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
If you ain't first, you're last. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this? Go, go, USA!
And after much delay and praying, we are back. The Greenberg hat trick
It's a new year.
is here in this new year, ready to enjoy some NHL hockey. What's up, my brothers?
Yeah.
Hello.
They're sad.
Before we get into our jam-packed show of NHL and a
Only NHL.
big preview, we're going to talk very quickly about the U.S. men's national team soccer
As we've
game
had
coming up.
in many podcasts previously,
Fabian Johnson.
Not playing.
is not
That's the big name not there.
coming to
I don't freaking get
this
it.
team.
I absolutely don't get it. Like, I knew he came back from an injury, but he's been playing the last few games for Mönchengladbach. Like, to me, I don't care how long he's been out for, but he's playing. He's playing in Germany. He's arguably maybe not the best player, but he deserves to be in the starting 11. For him not even to be called up is
Well, the best
It's
player
shocking.
is for the Bundesliga leaders on Pulisic.
yeah, for sure.
More on him later, but it's just Bruce Arena arrogance, and
it's
and
crazy.
I'm at a loss of words. I can't even analyze this properly.
Why Bruce Arena arrogance?
Because he just the MLS players like
He-
the thought to bring in Zardis for him.
There should not be one player on the Galaxy in the squad. Like, I don't even care if Donovan was on the Galaxy this time. He shouldn't be freaking picked. The Galaxy are like in last place. They're the worst team this year in the MLS. Like, I checked like the stats for the Galaxy recently. Zardis hasn't gotten a goal and assist in I don't even know how long.
I
Like,
mean, partially. I mean, I think they've just done now 1 or 2 games. They've played him at right back all of a sudden, which is Ziggy Schmidt doing, and we can get into whole MLS, but we have saved that for another podcast. But it's do or die time, and this is the squad we have, which still is an excuse. They should still get the job done. We've been saying this now for over a month about this game because of their last poor performances in Honduras and against Costa Rica, and it's crunch time. And to not have the best available lineup is just doing the team a disservice, and I just don't get it.
it's scary, and it's gonna come down to I think the starting 11, or if he chooses to start with Dempsey, or if he starts to
Dempsey's a sub.
That's what I hope. But he started
He's your
Dempsey.
super sub,
He
but-
started Dempsey in the last games, and now that Josie's not, he's back from his suspension. Do you do Josie and Bobby together, or do you do Wood with Pulisic? Like, in my opinion, Pulisic is the 100% player out of everyone. He's the only one that has a spot for sure. And Bradley, everyone else could be replaced at this point, I think.
I think Bobby and Josie should be a new sitcom on ABC.
Bobby and Josie.
I'm just going to say that right there because that's a great title for a sitcom. But
They should definitely start Bobby and Josie.
I think so too. I think they should be sort of
You
like
play attacking here.
it should be Bobby and Josie with Pulisic under them, and then 3 else in the midfielder. Since there's no Fabian, then you put 3 in the mid. You put 3 in the mid with Bradley, I guess Nagby, and I don't know the third because we've lost like the Jermaine Joneses, and I don't think Beckerman's that good of a player to play
might
that position.
be the Kellen
Maybe
Acosta.
Cameron or Acosta.
Might
But
be Acosta.
That's maybe we could put
Acosta
Cameron.
sucks.
That's right. I feel like you could put Cameron in that
I
position.
can't
though.
stand him.
You can't really say that to him because he had that free kick which led to the goal in Honduras because that was one hell of a free kick.
Yeah.
Okay, so he can take a free kick. I can take a free kick.
He was
that's not the
a
whole
lot
game.
better in Honduras than he was in the Gold Cup.
I think he could, I
what
still
I
think
saw of him, I'm not impressed. Jordan Morris assist to Bobby Wood.
Well, no, it was the free kick. It was a direct free kick, and it was an amazing save. Otherwise, it would have gone in.
I
But
get
Jordan
that.
Morris is probably out for these games because he got injured. Just like Zardis got injured anyway. Zardis got injured yesterday in the Galaxy's game, so he was called up, but it doesn't even matter.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, there's going to be a talk with Fabian because at this point, does he want to play for the U.S. team anymore? Because we're going under the assumption, and it's a very bad assumption given how they've played, that they're going to win against Panama and they're going to beat Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, the second game is probably more of a lock than the first game just because Panama is a better team. But they should be going to Russia. And then the question becomes, did you burn that bridge now with Fabian Johnson?
Nah.
I doubt it. It's he's still got the rest of the season to prove himself. Obviously, he shouldn't have to prove himself, but he's. I honestly believe anyone playing in Europe should not automatically get the call over an MLS player, but they should have a lot more to be taken seriously.
It should be automatic. If you're playing against better players in a better league, you should be playing for the national team, period. And I don't care if he was not fit in September or poor performance. He's had time to recover, and I'll take him on the field over any other person in the U.S. reserves.
Yeah, let's not even hope for the best. Like it's something we've been saying. They should win. There's really no doubt. Doesn't matter really who the 11 is. Anyone starting for this team should be able to take care of business, even if we're on the road. It's in Panama, right?
I think you play.
No, it's in Orlando.
Oh, this game's in. Okay,
I think you
we're
play
home.
Jeff Cameron as defensive.
That's what I was saying.
And don't forget that DeAndre Edlin is back.
Yeah, we have Yedlin back,
which is huge.
I think you should put Jeff Cameron in the midfield, and then you do Brooks is still injured though, so we got Ream and Beasler maybe. Who cares? Whatever.
I'd rather go with
Gonzalez.
Beasler than Ream. No, Gonzalez lost it in the Honduras game because that indecisiveness was just terrible.
So Beasler and Ream in center back and put Jeff Cameron in the midfield.
It's
By putting Jeff Cameron in the midfield, you have him as your core defensive midfield and gives Bradley the freedom to go up. Cameron should always be staying back, but in the midfield.
Let's see
You
how-
have then Bradley with freedom to go up, to do whatever he wants, to start the plays. That's where he should be, along with Nagby. We don't know the formation, but it should be some sort of thing like that, where you have Cameron as that. I can't think of someone right now, but just that ultimate defender, like slash midfielder that just holds the ball for them when they need it to.
But we can't assume because of what happened last time with the Costa Rica game, but we're ready to make predictions because we got to move to the NHL.
Yeah.
And we'll have another show in a week which will break down more in depth the international friendly qualifiers. Why am I saying friendlies?
I'm going 2-0.
It's 2-0.
Dos a Cero.
It's
I know it's
3-0.
not Mexico, but I'm going 2-0.
It's
3-0.
It's I mean, part of us.
It's more belief than what we want, or it's
I mean, another question. I mean, I said we wanted to go to
Who's
the
the
NHL.
goalie?
Who's the goalie?
yeah.
Tim Howard.
I think he's the only option.
How is they consider the only option?
Because
You go Tim
if
Howard.
Guzan was playing in the EPL still, then I'd say Guzan. But the fact that they're both playing in the same league, you got to go with the person who's done everything for
that
you.
first Costa Rica goal still haunts me because that's the poorest I've seen ever.
People
Tim
make
play.
mistakes. You go with that experience. You go with your player who's
No,
been with you for that team
I
for a
rate
while.
Tim Howard over Guzan 100%, but it's something to think about. But we've been wrong before last month, but there really should be no other score than a USA win, and
Yeah.
I think 2-0, 3-0 is something. where it'll
And
be.
winning clinches it, or the next game still matters.
It doesn't automatically quench it.
But like
Clinch it. I am on
according.
a
So
roll.
once
Yes.
Once
that's
you're done
yes,
talking, continue.
Just the U.S. national team gives me a major headache this past month. But we're moving past that right now because hockey season starts this Wednesday. And it's like a Yom Kippur miracle. And we get the NHL after the high holidays.
So we've already done a preview on which division.
The Atlantic Division.
So we did it. We're not going to go over that again.
No.
Well, let's stay in the Eastern Conference and do the next division. The
We go to the
Metropolitan.
Metro.
Wait, I want to go back to that.
About what?
The Atlantic Division.
Okay. What about it?
Okay.
Because I'm just changing my top two, which then I think puts Josh and I the same exact thing. Tampa Bay above Montreal.
There we go. We could have said this at the time.
So
All right.
Josh and I have the same exact Atlantic Division.
There we go. This could be something that could be similar for these next divisions. Metro.
So go to
working
Metro.
8 up. In
8 up.
Number 8, I will start and we will go with agree, disagree. It will be, even though they'll have the Calder winning Nico Hischier, it'll be the New Jersey Devils in 8th place in the Metropolitan.
I will agree.
Yeah, no, nothing. No.
They're-
They were crap last year, and even if they improve, which they should off that crap year, they only got 28 wins. In 82 games, you get 28 wins? That's pathetic.
It was a bad year.
Is that one of the worst? I mean, it's hard to tell
I
because of the whole...
wouldn't be talking with your team.
Yeah, Avalanche aren't very good either, Seth.
That's fine, but
It was a bad year for New Jersey.
we're talking about New Jersey right now.
All right.
It was.
So-
I mean, you should just keep the talking about only New Jersey because we'll get to Colorado.
I'm talking about New Jersey.
Number 7.
That's a crap year.
This is where you might have to do a little bit more research from the experts to get locks for these positions because it's such a tough division that this could change every single night that we play this year. Number 7, I have the Philadelphia Flyers.
I'm thinking that too.
Nope. Sticking with Carolina.
Going Carolina in the next place? All right.
See, I don't fault you for it because to do research on the Carolina Hurricanes doesn't seem that much of a thrill, but they have a solid defensive core. that you probably haven't heard of, and they're going to be flirting with the playoffs this year. We'll get to where I have them.
They will
because
not be flirting with the playoffs of the division they have.
They will definitely be flirting with their playoffs.
And they got Scott Darling now, who's
that was the big ad in the offseason goal. They didn't really get the stability from Ward. And I'm blanking on the other one.
Justin Williams.
They also signed Justin Williams, too. He's
That's
coming
pretty
home.
good.
And, I mean, their defense, you guys are probably not going to respond to these names, but Jacob Slavin and Brett Pesce, very solid. They got Trevor Van Riemsdyk from the Vegas Golden Knights. He used to play with the Blackhawks. He'll be solid on the third pair. And then Noah Hannafin and Justin Falk are the next coming defenders.
Yeah.
Especially for American hockey, which we can talk about the Olympics or not, but like they would be huge factors there. But you can't sleep on the Carolina Hurricanes. But, I mean, we're doing a disservice to Philadelphia. But I just don't think that Brian Elliott is the answer in goal for the Philadelphia Flyers. And Nolan Patrick was a good draft pick, obviously, being a top 2 selection. But it's such a tough division that I definitely think Carolina is better than them. And I don't think Brian Elliott's the answer in goal. And their defense is young, not NHL proven like Carolina's. And that's why I definitely see Carolina over Philadelphia.
It's a tough decision because Carolina, they seem to have a better roster, but they have to prove themselves also. They're still young. They don't really have who do they have new on their offense?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like the experts' fun pick because they've seen them now over a few years building this team, and now they think they're ready to make that jump to the playoffs. Now the question is, will they do it? And I mean, I don't want to spoil anything yet because we'll get to there. But they very well could.
Their top 7 players were all picked in the first or second round.
Yep, it's a greatly built squad. Great coaching, and again, we won't spoil it. We'll wait to maybe see where they end up. The 6th selection in the Metro. I'll let Michael give his pick.
I'm doing Philadelphia now. No, I'm doing Carolina now. I said
Carolina in 6.
Carolina 6, then Philadelphia. I'm New Jersey last, then Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Seth?
Josh doesn't agree with you.
No, I don't agree.
Josh is saying the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
And I am saying Philadelphia. Sorry, Carolina.
Okay, so Michael and Seth are on the same page.
No, we switched.
Well, the same concept.
Yeah.
But the Islanders, just like we'll get to Calgary's situation with their...
I love their first line, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean...
Eberle, I think they'll click. They have a solid first line.
And
that's a huge pickup.
And granted, this isn't with points attached to these selections in their positioning, because this could come down to, again, we said this about the EPL. This really might come down to the last few games of the season.
It's pretty tight.
You might be seeing like Philadelphia 89 points, Carolina 90, Islanders 91 as an example. That's not how I would do it, but just as an example. Their teams are going to miss out, especially in this division, by 1 or 2 points, by 1 or 2 games.
I think the Islanders are lacking though in goalie.
Halak and Grice is a good combo, but I don't know if that's the best.
Yeah, exactly. It's
tandem you can have. The whole Brooklyn issue is a fiasco at this point. They just need to find a good NHL building for them, and that might distract them. And then Tavares' contract. It's how good of a start do they get off to, and can they sign Tavares as quickly as they can, or is that going to be looming all season, and will it be a distraction? And they could go higher. They could maybe surprise the Rangers and be better than the Rangers. I just don't think the Rangers are going to take that much of a step backwards, and that's why I have them at 6.
Going back to what I said about Carolina, 8 out of their 9 top 3 line forwards were also picked in the first round.
Yeah,
just an interesting fact.
Like I said, they've built the team in Carolina that people are saying this is the year
this
they
is
make
the
the
Islanders
jump.
now. I'm saying.
Oh, Islanders, you saying?
Islanders,
same thing too.
8 out of their 9 for first round picks.
From many years of sucking as well, but the same thing with Carolina. But they started to build and they're turning around.
It doesn't mean that much.
The Islanders went up
just
and down. They went to the
fact.
playoffs. 5th position. You guys might be saying Islanders here. I'm guessing.
I'm going Islanders. Yeah.
I think you have your top 4, and you have your top 4.
I want to be bold.
Don't be bold.
But I'm going to put Carolina here. We'll get to if we see 5 in the Metro, 3 in the Atlantic, or 4 and 4. But for now, I have Carolina in 5. I think that's a safe way to do it.
So we've each of us gotten rid of the bottom 4. Now we have the same 4 teams to pick for from the top 4 for this division.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. Let's go with 4.
I'm going with the Rangers. I think the Rangers have been dependent on Lundqvist for too long, and I don't.
Lundqvist needs a good regular season because he showed it in the playoffs. They really should have beaten the Senators, let's be honest. And he just needs to show it in the regular season because Antti Ranta was huge for them last season, which got them some wins and some points. But maybe Lundqvist is on his last legs, and we're seeing the end of a marvelous career. But I think we still have 1 or 2 good years to see from him, and that starts in the regular season because you can't lose that many points, especially in this division. And I think, like Mike is saying, fourth is a good spot for them. Kevin Shattenkirk is going to be awesome on the back end and help their power play a lot. They lost Stepan to the Coyotes, which is a tough loss. But Kreider, Zibanejad, good top line for them. And Rick Nash is in a contract year, so expect him to produce. So I think fourth is just right for the Rangers.
Yeah, so you're taking Rangers fourth also?
Yeah.
It's such a hard division. The Rangers, I don't like their offense.
Same. I was looking at
They don't have solid player. Like, wow, they have that. They don't have anyone. I don't even think Nash is that good anymore.
Grabner, Hayes, and Miller is a good third line.
Sure, so they have depth of decency, but they don't have any
Depth
line.
of decency is playing Coachella this week.
I think we are.
Rangers in fourth.
So we all agree on 4? All right, then.
Seth,
That's easy.
you started off with the third place team in the Metro.
This is, I think, the hardest pick of all the divisions. These top 3 teams are the top 3 teams of any division in the NHL.
Incorrect, sir.
Between Pittsburgh, Washington, and Columbus, not incorrect. Those are possibly 3 of the top 5 teams in the NHL, in my opinion, this year.
Could be.
Pittsburgh and Washington is basically a guarantee. Some people are going to say Washington's going downhill. I do not agree.
Washington's definitely going downhill because they're not having a 118-point season.
Sure, from that standpoint, yes. They're in the top 5. Columbus, because of what they did last year, they're not such a... They're known now that they're good, but I think they are going to continue that, and they're going to have a great year. It's hard for me not to say Columbus in third, so I'm going to stick with Columbus in third, but still having a fantastic year, but you're up against Pittsburgh and Washington.
Mike?
Columbus in third. Same. I can't go against Pittsburgh and Washington right now. It's obviously Pittsburgh being the champions and the Capitals with Ovechkin. I can't go against Ovi most of the time.
Third place will be the Washington Capitals.
Oh shit.
They lost too much. They're definitely not getting 118 points.
Who did they lose?
They lost Williams. They lost Johansson. They lost Shattenkirk. They lost Alsner.
Shattenkirk was last year, though, no?
Doesn't matter. He was on their team.
That's fine, but mid-year.
Still helped them get to 118
It's still, yeah,
points.
no, it helps.
Who'd you say after that?
Alsner.
Johansson also, yeah. No,
I said Johansson.
You said.
Well, I'm confused right here though. It says with the depth chart thing that we're looking at, like it has Ovechkin on their second line. That makes no sense, right?
He might be starting on the second line.
Jeez. Okay.
It's the preseason. They're checking things out, but it's rumored for him to be on the second line, especially.
There's nothing wrong with that. When you look at that second line, you're just like, oh, fuck.
A little bit, yeah. they're relying on the rookie, Vrana, but you got Kuznetsov at center.
When you're playing with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov, that's the perfect way to build that guy's potential up.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom 6 is a little bit weak.
Going back to that stat I've been talking about, all 9 players of their top 3 line forwards are first-round picks. Their fourth line has 2 second-round picks. So just from that stat is pretty impressive.
It's a weird stat that you're going back to all the time, but sure.
It's not weird.
It's very
means
weird
that all
where
these
they were
players,
drafted.
Sure, but you're talking about Burakovsky, Backstrom, Oshie, Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Vrana, Brett Connolly, Lars Eller, Tom Wilson as third line. That's not bad at all. Jay Beagle, longtime Washington Capital, Alex Chason, Devontae Smith-Pelly. That's a solid roster.
He's still got problems in the back end. I don't like Orpik. He's a little bit slow for my liking.
disagree. He's slow, but
You cannot disagree on his slowness. He's definitely
I do not
slow.
disagree. But those first top 2 lines are solid defensive pairings.
Exactly. That's why they'll be finishing third in the Metro. Number 2.
Me and Seth both said Columbus.
Yeah, I'm guessing
All right.
you guys are going Washington.
I'm still not 100% sure yet.
If
but
you think Washington's going to win this division this year with this team and this offseason they had, then I don't get it. But sure, good luck to you on that one.
I can't, yeah.
This could go really wrong for them, too.
Yeah, no. Penguins will win the division.
Their defense took a major hit.
I know. Penguins will win the division. Capitals will get second.
Is that Seth as well?
Capitals winning the division.
There's Seth being just completely difficult. I mean, you can explain that in a second, but in second place will be the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I already
So you're going, wait, hold on. Wait. You can't even go there. He's going Columbus winning the division.
Josh and I talked about this before the podcast, and I asked him on the car on the way here.
The car?
In the car. in the car on the way here.
The difference last year between Pittsburgh
I'm in the middle of a story, man.
and Columbus was 3 points. And Washington set the bar high with 118. That's not going to happen again. Columbus just got Panarin.
Going back to what we were talking about in the car, I literally asked Josh, who's your top 10 teams? Because I'm thinking of a team that is going to have a fantastic year. He says, it doesn't matter right now, team. And in fifth, he said Columbus. And I said, all right, stop right there. That's exactly how I was talking about. So I knew where Josh was going with this.
But not good enough to put them first in the division.
I had an idea because I knew you were also saying Washington down. And I think Pittsburgh is going to have a fantastic year. But doesn't mean they're going to win the division. They're going to have problems. They always have injury problems. Who knows who?
That is definitely a fact.
And Columbus very well could win this division.
But
I am not surprised if anything if any of these top three
Bobrovsky's
teams.
going to have another Vezina-like season. Panarin's going to thrive.
Panarin is going to be amazing. That line is so scary. Panarin, Wenberg, Atkinson is so scary. The second half of the season that Wenberg and Atkinson had was insane. You're adding Panarin to that?
Keep an eye on Pittsburgh, though, because they're going to get a healthy Chris Letang.
That is very important. He was on my fantasy team last year.
But they're losing Marc-Andre Fleury, and they're getting Antti Niemi as a backup. And that could lose them some points.
Nah.
It can definitely
Murray
lose
will play
them some
more
points.
games.
Yeah, Murray will be. He didn't play last year because of his injury to begin.
He could get injured again, but I
can't
Anyone
predict
get
injuries.
injured.
Yeah,
you obviously can't predict injuries, but you can go off of a tandem, and I definitely like Murray and Fleury versus Murray and Niemi.
Why? I mean, just the rhyme.
So
I guess.
let's finish the Eastern Conference.
All right.
Finished.
No. Now who's making the playoffs?
Okay.
I don't even remember what I said last time though.
It's pretty simple.
You have just what you did now.
Yeah.
Who'd you have winning the division in the Atlantic?
I had Tampa Bay. I think
No, you didn't.
You definitely didn't have Tampa Bay. I think you had Toronto, maybe.
I did not say Toronto's winning the division.
You did not say Tampa Bay, though.
And you had Montreal lower, too. You had Montreal like 3 or 4.
I think I did Toronto, Boston.
Toronto winning.
No, Tampa Bay, Boston, Toronto, Montreal. I think. Whatever. I said Tampa Bay for sure.
We
I said
can
Tampa
change
Bay.
it. That's fine.
We'd have to go to the tape because we assume we'd have it on the top tip of your tongue.
Since our last podcast, we've all done more research. NHL's come closer. It's fine to change it.
You guys have done more research.
Sure, you live this every day of your life.
I think it will be 4-4. I
agree, 100%.
I think Carolina doesn't sneak in as the 5th Metro,
I agree.
and I think the 4 Atlantic teams get it as well.
Yeah, most likely.
And it'll be an interesting playoffs when we get to that point, but we're a long way away from the playoffs. Like we said, the Eastern Conference has gotten a lot better over the past few seasons, and it's going to come down to a few points for positioning. That's all. That's the way to sum it up. For positions 3, 4, 5, and 6 in both divisions, it's going to be those last games are going to be very tight.
No, it's
No, I love if he just says
not in position. Montreal, Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Washington, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Rangers.
Yeah, but whatever. Positioning's important, but
No, I'm just saying which 8 teams are making the playoffs.
that's what we think. Okay, we'll go to the Central because Pacific is the most important. We'll save it for last.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
And also, it's got the newest team, which will give us more time to talk about. We'll go with the Central.
And-
Seth, who do you have in 7th place in the Central,
In 7th place,
which is last?
Winnipeg.
Okay,
That's
it's a bit of a shocker.
That's a total shocker.
Nope.
That's a just doesn't make us.
Is that
I
choosing
mean,
with your heart or with your brain?
I'm like, I shouldn't call you out in the middle of the podcast, but that's like you didn't do your homework.
You can definitely call me out.
You didn't do your homework to do Winnipeg as 7th in the division.
Again,
Why?
I don't even care. They arguably have the best line in hockey.
all right, but are you choosing with your heart or your brain with this pick? Because if people don't know, you are an Avalanche fan, and Avalanche are much favored to finish last in the division again.
They're supposed to, that's for sure. But they have so much potential and so much opportunity, and their lines have clicked. And I think now Yakupov is a good addition to their team. Landeskog right now is
That's
playing on the
almost
3rd
laughable.
line. Why is that laughable? They're playing well.
Yakupov is a good addition to this team. I hope he does well, but if that's how you're basing them to go over the Winnipeg Jets
That's not
this
why I'm
season-
basing it.
No, but that's definitely
Mikko
a factor.
Rantanen was the shock of last year for a lot of people. He came out of nowhere and scored. He was, I think, the leading goal scorer. Not that means a lot because it's the Avalanche again, but I like how they disperse this team and their lines, and they've always had the potential. And I think this year they finally start building that potential, and we can continue talking. I'm saying they're in 6th. I'm not saying they're going to be playing playoff hockey. But I think they're going to move up a position.
Sort of like we were saying about the Capitals. There's no way they probably won't do better than they did last year. So there's no way the Avalanche will do worse than they did the year before.
Sure, but they can still do better and get 7th. I think they'll get 6th.
I'm looking at their team.
I think the Avalanche are going to have a better season, and by that I mean they're going to get 55 points instead of 48.
Yep.
I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as saying with Seth where they won't get last place, but I think
it's no offense. It's almost idiotic to think Colorado will place higher than Winnipeg.
No, yeah, fine. That's with heart.
No, I'm putting it out there because it has to be called out. Winnipeg could be a playoff team, and
they definitely could.
You could say no all you want. It's a fact that they're going to be a playoff team.
Fine. Colorado last.
This whole division's freaking like
that was
tricky.
obviously a hopeful pick just to move them up a spot.
No, you could be hopeful, but come out and say it right away.
Okay, I said it.
That's
all right,
fine.
so we're all agreeing that now
Colorado
for Colorado.
7th.
Yes.
6th place, which is supposed to be, according to the odds, the Jets spot, but it seems like Josh isn't going to go that way.
He didn't necessarily say that. He's just saying there's no way Colorado's beating them.
But he's saying that Jets are going to be making the playoffs.
He
They're not
said
gonna
they're a
make the
playoff
Again,
talk.
This is me speaking
This division
with,
is very
with my
hard.
bias, but the NHL is at the best it's ever been.
Okay.
And these teams are almost equal
I
to
get
each
that. No,
other.
I get that.
So I'm giving the Jets hype. That still doesn't mean they can't finish 6th in this division.
Okay,
but to
so-
save us time, it's going to be the St. Louis Blues.
You're going to Blues?
And the St. Louis Blues, because they have lots of injuries. They lost Robbie Fabry for the whole year. That is huge. People don't realize how huge that is. Bouwmeester's hurt. Steen's hurt. They lost another defender for 7 months. This team got back they're supposed to go over that hump because, I mean, I have a soft spot for St. Louis, even though Mom really doesn't care about hockey or at least the Blues.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted that team to do well, despite the rivalry with the Kings and all that. But they're just not getting over that hump. And this is going to be a setback year, especially how good the Central has gotten. We'll get to Dallas, who is definitely going to be high on this list.
I'm sorry. I'm going to admit to something that I have not looked into this as much as I should have, or at least to these bottom teams. The Blues are terrible.
Okay, well,
Look at their lines, and as you've said, who they're missing. To look at their team last year and to look at their team this year, they have one line.
and they also lost Perron, which is somewhat of a
One
big
line.
loss.
They have one line.
Well, I also, like what I've been doing a lot recently with this
Brayden-
conversation. What?
No, it's Braden Shen's a good ad.
Yeah, I was going to say
That's
him
fine.
too.
That's fine. They have one line.
It's a nice piece, but it's not the big trade that you're trying
But
to do.
I like bringing this up. I've done this a few times already, but like Jake Allen, is he good enough? Is he...
His
You
game
can't
is so shaky.
It doesn't matter. They can't be talking.
That he
I look
found
at that
his
roster
game?
and they're not a good team.
But goalies can
They
make a
have
difference.
one line.
Is Jake Allen the type of goalie that can make the difference for
no,
them?
he's not your team that can make that difference.
I would agree.
He's not your goalie that can make that difference.
He might, but he has to keep it consistency, which has been his problem.
I agree,
The key
Blues
is
in
the key is
6.
Tarasenko though. Tarasenko could be up for 50 goals this year. I wouldn't be
He
surprised
could
if
be.
he does.
He'll be everything, but it's
I'm
not
gonna
enough.
I'm gonna stick with the Blues at 6.
I agree.
I'm going to do that also. I think we've all convinced each other of that, and I'm going to stick with it also, which means...
Which leaves I
Is
don't
now
think
the
there'll
Jets spot?
I don't leave any shock here. I'm not going to make a big movement with them. The Jets are going to pretty much stay where they always are in 5th, just knocking on the playoff door and just not getting it
I think...
because they didn't fix their goalie problem.
Yeah, that's true, and also just because once we get to the other teams coming up, they're a good team, but they're just not as good as these other 4 teams.
Steve Mason is not going to get you to the playoffs with this team. I'm sorry. Kulikov wasn't the best free agent pickup out there. It was a stretch. It's not going to work for them. They might have the best line in hockey. Patrick Laine is one of the greatest players that we've seen the past 2 years. Last season, sorry, but you saw him at the hype before the draft. They're just not going to do it. And it's frustrating because you want to see these small markets make it because their fans are amazing. The atmosphere in those games are crazy. And they have a fun team to watch. But in this tough division, you need to be better than what they're probably going to achieve. And that's what's going to happen. And it's unfortunate, but you're probably going to see the same teams dominate this division.
And speaking of those teams now, so we're going to those top 4, which is Chicago, Nashville, Minnesota, and Dallas. 4th place... I'll go first, and we'll say that it will be the Dallas Stars. They will have a better season last year because last year they were super disappointing, but I still don't believe that they will achieve whatever greatness that people did expect of them the year before. And I think fourth place will be their spot. And I still think they'll be in fourth place and they'll miss out of the playoffs because the Pacific Division is too strong. But we'll get there later. So for me, Dallas fourth.
That is a bold. That is a bold effing statement right there. 5 from the Pacific. That's bold.
What was bold?
That's bold. I'm just gonna have to put that 5
Saying
from the Pacific.
what?
5 from the Pacific are gonna make the playoffs.
But you guys didn't let me say my fifth team.
We haven't gone to it.
Is
yet.
it what?
Oh, whoa! Who's your fifth team?
Dallas.
You're not doing what you
Wait. Now you're confusing and
I know.
switching up this whole entire podcast.
So you're Colorado,
You
then St.
partially
Louis.
convinced me.
I mean,
I needed a moment.
That's what I do.
Fine.
But
No,
So-
I needed a moment.
Fine. So your moment's gone. You're Colorado, then St. Louis, then Dallas. Okay.
you do realize that they added Ben Bishop and Radulov and Mark Mathot.
I do see that. This is also one of the best divisions in the league. Or this and the next. And the Metropolitan.
Okay. I'm going to tell you shortly how much I disagree with that pick.
Of course,
but sure.
the Pacific.
No. It has nothing to do with the Pacific. Has nothing to do with Pacific.
No, I know you think Dallas is going to be good this
My
year.
fifth is set, so we're on my fourth.
Yeah.
My fourth will be the Nashville Predators. That's where they finished last year, and that's where they're probably going to finish again this year. They have a key injury to start this season, and when it's someone like that to your defense, it's going to take time to adjust and expect a lot more out of PK Subban, which I don't know if he's going to do. And they just put it together at the right time during the playoffs, and I just don't think they're going to have that good of a regular season compared to what people think they're going to achieve.
Yeah, having Ryan Ellis injured is a huge deal. But they
If
did.
I didn't mention it was Ryan Ellis.
Yeah. Yeah. They also like the captain Mike Fisher retired, so that's a.
It's you're getting a better player in with Bonino, so
Yeah.
that's not a total loss. Josie's an excellent pick for the captaincy, so that's no big deal there. Their defense is still pretty good. Josie,
and losing James
Subban,
Neal also.
Weber, Ekholm, James. Yeah, it's no one talks about that. That's a lot of goals you're losing there. A
Yeah.
good player. Johansson, like it's been repeated a bunch of times. Johansson out in the final hurt their chances to win because we could be talking about the Stanley Cup champion Predators if he's playing.
Yeah, it's true.
But,
It'll be tricky.
like
but yeah.
we've been saying, the Central's tough, and some teams got better than the Predators this offseason. That's the only way of saying it.
All right, so
Third place.
third place, I'll
Fourth
go Nash.
place.
No, fourth. Fine. You're on Winnipeg now, though, right?
Oh, you're behind us.
No!
Jesus Christ,
Oh
you went
my
from okay.
gosh.
Where are you now then?
Nashville.
Okay, we discussed
Fine.
Nashville already.
But it's tough because I do not think Minnesota is going to be that great. But
Okay, so then we'll go to wait. So wait,
I think
so is
Nashville
Winnipeg-
also only has
so-
one top line.
We don't. Don't base it everything off of what you're saying.
Hold on, are you going from Winnipeg to finish the seventh to second now?
Go,
Because it seems like
go with your third place. We spent enough time on
Third
Nashville.
place.
Minnesota.
I'm.
Holy crap!
That's what I was saying.
This division preview just got turned on its head.
I was joking in the beginning with Colorado. Of course, they're last.
All
All I said was that they're going to pass the sixth place team from last year.
Some joke.
All right, so my third place is Nashville.
Okay, and my third place will be the Chicago Blackhawks.
Ooh,
Because
the dynasty's over.
the dynasty is they've lost in the playoffs the past two first rounds.
Yeah, but there's, as long as there's those
No,
players are still
dynasty's
there.
over from that standpoint,
All right.
from winning championships. But Saad for Panarin, let's see if that gets Taves going. But like I said, other teams just got better. Period. We go to number 2, which I'm guessing is
Seth, what are you?
I don't even know what
Hold on.
Seth's guessing.
Is it Winnipeg or who's left for you at this point? Is your Winnipeg Chicago now, Seth?
Yeah, he's Winnipeg, Chicago.
I'm going Chicago for my number 2. I'm saying Minnesota wins the division.
Seth, just stop with
Chicago with number 2.
Oh,
Winnipeg's winning the division now all of a sudden for
oh
Seth.
my God,
Winnipeg's winning the
Might as well
division.
bet on them like they're a freaking 12.
Winnipeg's winning the division.
that is crazy. Okay, I sold him. What can I tell you? It could happen
I've been
if they get the goaltending in Elliott. It could happen. Mason, sorry, I get. them
I've been
confused.
I'm a sucker for young players, and this team is young, and they're playing well. And when I say this team is young, I mean they're stars. And you have that line of, like you said, with Lyon, Little, and Ehlers. I've liked Little for years, but he has had not that many players to play with the
He
last
is
5 years.
very underrated.
Exactly. I've liked him for years because I obviously, whoever's listening or YouTube know how much I take fantasy seriously.
Fantasy.
I've liked Little for many years, but he has not had players to play with. He has, like you said, I wouldn't go as far as saying the best line in the league. You can talk about that. their line's ridiculous, and that's their second line. Their first line is also very scary. And
So-
their defense, like you said, Kolikov's not a good pick. Maybe he can turn around.
I didn't say not a good pick, but they it's not a
Bufflin,
free agent
Enstrom,
winner.
and Myers with their experience. Trouba on the first line. They're like you said,
suspended, but Trouba.
like you said, it goes down to how Steve Mason carries them.
Michael,
Because that's their main trouble.
Who's your first?
I'm going Minnesota winning the division.
No.
That is the safe bet
What?
for one reason only. Hopefully, Michael can say it.
Dubnyk?
That's 2 or 3 on the list of reasons. The number one reason is the Bruce Boudreau coach team, and he coaches regular seasons very well. He did that in Anaheim. He did that in Washington. And we're only talking about the regular season. And they're going to have a pretty good regular season. But that's why I have them as second in the Central.
Who's your one then?
The number one team of the Central
Dallas.
is going to be the Dallas Stars. And
They have a scary first line.
they arguably just got the best goaltender in the division in Ben Bishop.
That is a very true statement.
I'm going to disagree
The
with that.
goalies in this division are
I'm gonna
not good.
Oh, wait, division or conference? you said?
Division.
Division.
Oh, division, fine.
The
He can
goal
take-
is the only
Division.
arguable goalie
because I'm
is
going to say Ben Bishop's better
Than
than Jonathan
Quick.
Quick.
That's why I was confused. You
Are
said
you
that.
out of your mind?
The
I
only
was-
the only possible
Let me
debate would
remind
be
you-
Devin Dubnyk.
Let me remind you that Ben Bishop was the backup to Quick.
All right, that's a true statement because you didn't say for sure, but the only possible debate, in my opinion, is Devin Dubnyk. I think he's better than Crawford.
I've never liked that. I don't agree with.
What?
That I don't agree with.
Crawford's the most
No, I
underrated
said that
goalie
Bishop's
in the NHL.
better than Crawford, not Dubnyk.
I think Crawford's the most underrated goalie in the NHL.
Bishop, I'm
Bishop's
saying.
better than Crawford.
That's what I
agree with
said.
that.
That's what I said.
I definitely agree with that. And just Ben, Sagan, Radulov,
It's scary.
Spezza, Hansel as a third line center.
Oh, he's hot right now.
Instead
That
of Hansel. But yeah, I'm a believer in Dallas this year. They're going to go to the playoffs. Well, how they do in the playoffs will be a different story because again, it comes down to matchups. But we move to our last division as we chug along on our NHL preview. It is the I can't say the best division in hockey, but it's the most
Not
fun
at all.
division in hockey,
The
and that's the
third best
Pacific
division.
The third best division. I think it's
Actually,
better.
it's the last.
I think it's
division.
better than the Atlantic, and I think it might be better than the Central.
Not
this
the
year.
Central, not
it
the
might be better
Metropolitan.
So
than the Central.
the
this year.
division that has Connor McDavid in it isn't a good division, you're saying?
Yeah, it's definitely better than the
You
Atlantic.
can't say that. You're talking teams, not player.
Yeah, but
He makes
come
them,
on.
because that's why everyone's picking Edmonton to maybe win.
All
the
right,
division.
last pick.
In last pick,
Vegas.
and I think they'll get more points than Colorado last season, but it'll still be a terrible year. It's Vegas, and we don't really spend that much time on them.
No,
because
Bring Yager to Vegas.
it's just a question mark. Oh, one last thing, because we brought up Yager, we won't save it to like any news and notes at the end. Look for him to sign in St. Louis,
yeah, hopefully.
and that could affect where St. Louis places this year. But we can only go on the team currently. But look for him to maybe sign in St. Louis,
I just want
because
him to
there
play
was a little
again.
smoke there this offseason.
Yep.
But Vegas as the 8th, 7th. Let's move through
Hold
this.
on, we have to make sure Seth agrees that Vegas.
I said it first.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we'll try and move through this quickly so we can wrap it up and get to some last predictions for Cup winners and any other thing we want to talk about in the NHL.
All right.
Vegas in 8, Vancouver in 7.
I will agree and agree.
I'm waiting for Seth.
It's tough between Arizona and Vancouver.
Arizona's going to have a good year. I'm just going to let you know right now.
Um,
Expect Arizona to get in the high 70s, low 80s.
I agree they'll do better than Vancouver.
Vancouver 7th, Arizona in 6th. Agreed?
Yes.
Agreed. 5th place.
I will go
Yeah, Michael lead it.
with the Sharks.
Seth.
It's tough.
Of course it's tough, but you got to make the money pick. I'll save you the time. It's going to be the Sharks.
Ooh, me and Josh agree.
They didn't add anything this offseason. They lost
and
Marleau.
they lost Marlowe, yeah.
So to expect them to compete with these teams ahead of them, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's the Sharks.
In 4th place, this is where we could go tricky.
I will say this is where the Flames go. I know that people want to keep hyping freaking Johnny Hockey and all that stuff, but I don't think he's that great. But I think 4th place suits them.
I mean, they more want to hype that defense they have because it might be the best defense in the NHL. But will Mike Smith stop the pucks? That's a question
He's
in
a
itself.
like. I know this is more personal to me.
He's
but-
a dick.
No, he's a duck killer. Like
a duck
every
killer.
time Mike Smith plays against the Ducks when he was on the Stars, it was lights out. Even when he was on the Coyotes, also he was always lights out.
He's only a king killer when it comes to slashing them outside his crease, which is just go back to the 2012 series and see how many slashes he took against Dustin Brown and Mike Richards. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Calgary is my fourth place team.
Calgary in fourth.
We're moving smoothly here. We don't really need to go in depth.
And now this is where
their defense has to be mentioned. Giordano, Dougie Hamilton, TJ Brody, Travis Hamonic. It probably is the best top 4D in the league. The question is, with their limited offense, get them the goals, and will Mike Smith stop the puck?
I'm gonna argue with the top 4 with the Ducks, but like we'll get there in a few seconds.
We will get there. Number 3.
Kings.
This is pretty easy, and it's going to be the Kings, because in the history of the franchise, they really don't have that many great regular seasons. And going off of modern history, they just like to sneak into the playoffs. And third place is definitely better than fourth place, obviously, which is probably not going to be a sneak in, but it's going to be a bounce back year.
That's the thing though. Like they didn't make the playoffs. They have to start off stronger.
It could go bad.
It could, yeah, definitely could.
Like, don't assume that the bounce back is going to happen, but the
for
team
sure
is
not.
too good to let it not happen.
For sure, not the bounce back isn't 100%, but like you'd think they're going to start off strong.
I'm not going to put Jonathan Quick at 40 wins, but he's going to get there between 35 and 40 wins this season. And Darcy Kemper as a backup is going to be similar to what Budai did last year. And to expect third place with all the question marks surrounding them is a great win for them, because come the playoffs, you don't want to play this team in the playoffs. You can look back to their 2016 series against the Sharks and say, oh, they lost in 5, so how much of a threat are they? Yeah, but they were missing Alec Martinez, and they had Rob Scuderi back there.
I think the Kings lost one of the most important players.
At which point?
Dwight King.
No,
I love watching him play.
We can move on. The game has passed him, unfortunately. I loved watching him play, especially the first year he broke out, but that's not a bad loss that the Kings are going to be missing this year.
Their last two lines are
if
lacking.
anything, you should.
Their last two lines are lacking.
That's always been the question with the Kings.
No, I like King was on the third line.
Sometimes they played him on the first line, which was part of the problem. But
once he got better.
Mike Camilleri is back on the team, which I hope he does well. I hope he gets that 20 goals that I wanted him to get, because we saw
Didn't he just score 2 goals?
in the preseason game, yeah, but needs to do in the regular season. But we saw Camilleri on the Kings when we were still living in LA, so it's kind of a reunion of sorts. But third place, I think, is perfect for them. I think they're better than Calgary. I think they got the goaltending. I think their defense is underrated. And the offense is going to click this year because they have the go. The defenders are joining the play. They know how to rush the puck better, and they're going to drive the net, like Coach Stevens is saying. And I think 95, 96-point season will do the trick for the Kings. We could do more, but I'll keep it that simple. I expect a good year.
All right. Seth, did you say your third?
Kings.
All right. So I think we're all in agreement pretty much to this point.
We are all in agreement. And this is where
I'm still. I think about it. I don't know.
Let's be real. I'd love to pick the Kings first because I don't have that much faith in Edmonton and Anaheim. But one, I can't do that, and two, like I said, they're not really that much of a regular season team. But to save the time, it's Ducks 2, Edmonton 1, just because Edmonton has McDavid, and that's just the difference between the two teams, in my opinion, at least in the regular season.
How is Edmonton's defense?
Questionable. Clefbaum had a good year. Sekera's out injured to start the year, which could, again, also part of this is who gets off the good starts and who gets off the slow starts. And that'll be the key to who leads the races for these divisions.
For me, Ducks always got the slow starts, but they end up winning the division all the time still.
That's very true. And the Ducks are definitely going to get off a slow start, because Becco, you can lead us into the Ducks discussion because they have many injuries.
The thing that I want to talk about,
Or Seth's going to talk first.
is that Ducks are second and Edmonton's first. But I'm scared how Edmonton's going to be in the playoffs because of their defense. Edmonton,
by the time they reach the playoffs, they'll be fucking ready.
no,
I have no
Sorry, I swear, Mom. I'm sorry.
worry about the Oilers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If
Edmonton-
the Kings match up against the Oilers, I'll take the Kings in 6 all day.
Okay, so then you're agreeing with me. But my point is,
Because Seth is saying, their defense is not that freaking good
That's their
compared
weakness.
to the Kings.
That's their weakness. However,
Well, what you're seeing, by the way, is missing
wow.
Sekera.
Can I finish the sentence, please?
Yeah.
They are scoring the most goals in the league during the season. They have the best offense in the league. That's my statement. But for the playoffs, their defense is going to kill them.
Okay, before Michael gets to his little Ducks preview, over under points for Connor McDavid, 101.
Over.
Well,
Under.
what was the most last year?
100.
100 McDavid.
100 David last year?
Over.
I say he gets another back-to-back years at 100.
108.
Over.
108.
I don't know I don't know how much over.
108.
Maybe 102, 103 maybe. But like,
I haven't met another 100-point year because the NHL is just so tough. It's not like a Gretzky.
This is the best offense in the NHL.
Arguably.
all right,
That
I still haven't
third
said my
line.
picks
That
yet.
third line is an amazing third line.
We know what you're going to pick. Just give us the reasoning behind it.
I haven't.
There's no way you can pick them over the Oilers.
There is
unless
a
you
way.
talk about defense.
You can 100.
Who's won the freaking Pacific Division the past 5 years in a row?
Yeah, it's
It's Connor McDavid's second
It's
year.
the Ducks.
third year.
The Ducks have won the Pacific 5 years in a row. That's what we do. It's
Third
get used
year.
to it.
Get that fact
Third
straight.
year.
Oh, third year in a row?
Even more.
Whatever.
No, I mean, again, this is me picking Edmonton over the Ducks because I hate the fucking Ducks.
No, this is Edmonton's
But
winning
So
the
much
division.
swearing in this podcast. All
But-
three of us this time.
I'm not swearing.
There-
Yes, you did before.
There is no shock if the Ducks win the Pacific for the 6th time in a row.
I said 5. Were you saying 3 for McDavid before then?
I'm saying the 6th now.
What? You
For
said
this
I was
season.
saying 5 and you were saying 3. That was about
No.
McDavid?
That was
Yeah.
about McDavid.
Oh, yeah. So 5 in a row. I was right.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, yeah. We're winning the division. We're going to start off slow.
Oh, it's that.
Maybe not
dominant.
as slow.
You're definitely
but
going to start out slow. The question is this year, will you guys bounce back from it? Because your injuries to start this year is not being talked about much. Because losing Ryan Kessler till January
Ryan Kessler's
is
a
huge.
huge loss, but
It's huge.
he'll be fresh when he comes back, which is important, I think.
That's great.
But
how many points will the Ducks have at that point? That is the question. Because he can be fresh,
I don't know.
but the Ducks could be 15 points out of a playoff spot.
Vermette will step up and take his spot, and it's not obviously the same thing.
You hope so, but I
It's-
hope you saw a highlight last night from Staples Center where he missed the wide open net.
He's not known for his scoring, but to be able to do the defensive work.
I'm sorry, but when there's a wide open net on the power
Obviously.
play late in the third period, you put the puck in the fucking
Obviously,
net.
that's what you want, but he won't be on the power play during the regular season. He won't. That's not going to be him. That arguably, in my opinion, was one of the best lines last year when you had Kessler, Cogliano, and Silverberg. They were amazing. You put Vermette in there, he'll win the faceoffs, he'll do what he can defensively because it's a defensive shutdown line.
He's no Ryan Kessler.
I know
and
he's
you
not.
also need to add, there's no Lindholm, there's no Vatanen.
That's huge. That's definitely huge. But
These
we-
first 2 months are going to be key to the Duck season.
But we got-
because again, you need to be bold on these podcasts, and I could say maybe the Ducks fall all the way to 5th.
I
the way
like
they can start
I
this
like our
year.
defenders. Cam Fowler's finally playing the way he should be all his entire career. We
Yeah.
have Bieksa, who's a huge veteran.
Oh, that's a huge.
We got Beaujemais back.
Bieksa should retire.
I don't know. We got Beaujemais back. We have Ryan Miller as our backup freaking goalie.
Beaujemais should retire.
Miller hasn't been good in years.
He's our backup goalie.
He
Whatever. We have
played
John
for
Gibson.
Vancouver.
We have John Gibson.
He played
who
for
is-
Vancouver, so it's a little unfair to him.
John Gibson had his best year last year,
So-
and I only expect him to get better.
The question now becomes 5 Pacific teams, 4 Pacific teams, or some not unbiased, but biased hockey writers in the center and the east of the country, 3 Pacific teams.
I know what I said before about the whole 3 and 5. I'm taking that back. I was definitely speaking too much in advance, and I think, let me look at the teams again. I will say,
3 Pacific.
I almost wanted to say that, but no, I'll go with 4. I'm going to say 4 and
3
4.
Pacific.
4 and 4, and
Which is why the Pacific is arguably the worst division in the NHL.
no, I'm
Don't
going to say
care if
4
you
and
have
4,
McDavid.
and it'll be
If you make that case and they do get the 3, they definitely have a valid point. But it'll be 4
If
and
that
4.
happens, true, yeah, I
It
agree.
should be 4 and 4.
As I said, Edmonton Ducks Kings.
Okay, let's jump
And
ahead.
then your top 5 Central.
Even greater risk with these predictions, your conference final and Stanley Cup final. Seth starts it off because who knows if he's joking.
you know Seth wants to go last.
Well, that's why I'm putting him first, because he's completely thrown this podcast for a loop when he went Winnipeg 7th all the way to 1st.
That was joking, just
So-
passing the 6th team.
I am going to do. Let me think. I like these teams here, but I also need to figure out the brackets, how they would combine.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. You just
Yeah.
have to go who I think is the best
Who's your
in
top
this
2
division,
teams?
who's the best in this division.
Fine, I'm
who's the best
going-
in this division, who's the best in this division.
Basically, that's what it is. Your top.
That's all you can go because you can't put the matchups
So then we've
unless-
all said it. We've said our top team in each division.
But that doesn't mean how they'll play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going with West Conference. We'll have the Oilers versus
Ooh. That means the Oilers beat
Opposite
the
of what I
Ducks in
said.
the second
Oilers
round.
will beat the Ducks at some point because they'll get revenge, and
It'd be the second round.
I don't
based
want
off
it,
of your
but
division rankings.
you'll see why. I'm picking the Oilers to win the cup, but that's why I think they're gonna do. It's McDavid's year. Oilers versus the Wild, and in the East, I'm going. I want to say my surprise team second.
Oilers Wild.
I'm going.
That's a stretch.
Let's go Lightning Capitals in the East, and
That's another stretch.
Edmonton versus the Capitals in the Cup, and Ovechkin misses out again.
That's a complete stretch.
Is that what Seth's doing? He's like giving me a face.
Seth.
Very close.
Seth, go.
It's super tough. My for sure's are.
Of course it's tough. No, the best league in the world.
My for sure's are Tampa Bay
for sure.
in the conference finals in the Eastern Conference, and Edmonton in the Western Conference finals.
Let's do it not in order.
It's
Those
hard.
are my for sure teams because
So
those are the
go.
easiest divisions in my opinion.
Go make a never too early prediction. For
Those
the
are my.
conference final.
Those are the easiest divisions.
So
the
match
other
them
two
up.
are tough.
Okay. You've had time to think.
Then I go Pittsburgh. You got to go Pittsburgh
Gotta go.
in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, but Tampa Bay beats Pittsburgh.
Mike's got to type.
Tampa Bay goes to the Stanley Cup Finals, and you have Edmonton up against.
You got McDavid versus Crosby in the finals?
I just said Tampa Bay in the finals.
Oh, I didn't hear that. My bad.
I want to go defense. I want to say Nashville, but I don't know if they're good enough this year. They're not good enough this year.
They're not going to make the cup again. Or the cup.
Edmonton against Nashville.
Okay.
You go with defense in the playoffs.
All right.
You have Ellis back, right? He's not out for the season.
No, he's not out for the season.
No,
but...
he's not out for the season.
You have that's one of the best defense in the league.
All right.
And you go defense in the playoffs. Edmonton beats Nashville, and Tampa Bay beats Edmonton. Tampa Bay wins the cup.
Lightning wins the cup. All right, Joshy.
Back to my Tampa Bay.
In the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic side will be the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
The Metro will be the Columbus Blue Jackets.
All right. That'll be exciting.
Tampa Bay wins in 7 against Columbus. In the West, it will be the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, this is he was when we were talking about the previews, he was up on Columbus and up on Dallas a lot.
I knew that already.
And I cannot say the Kings, even though I know how their path to the final will be achieved. But we will go with the Oilers because I think they've built something real nice. I think Draisaitl needs to step it up again. He had a good playoff, but he needs to prove that it's for real this year. Wow. And Edmonton, Dallas, and Edmonton is just too strong offensively for Dallas.
Same finals. I said Tampa Bay beating Edmonton.
Yeah. And
Who's your winner?
And Edmonton will win their 6th Stanley Cup because
McDavid's the shit.
McDavid.
Is the shit.
Say it.
Say it.
I don't want
Say
to
it.
because
Say it.
I don't personally see it. I'm not a believer in Edmonton, but
They have the best offense in the NHL. But it goes against what I say with defense. Like, I said they'll have problems, but I think they'll overcome it with their goals. They have
here's the
such
problem.
a good offense.
I have no right to predict the Kings here based off
Of course
the past
not.
few seasons.
You cannot say that. Do not go with
But
heart.
I know exactly how they can achieve what they need to do.
Sure.
And Michael's hurting himself, which is a good cue that we should wrap this up. I guess we're probably in agreement that MVP will be
Connor McDavid,
Connor
MVP.
but it's NHL's here.
He will get 108 points. He will get the MVP of the NHL. Will he win an ESPY?
Nope.
Nope. He won't get nominated. They'll just forget he existed.
Because
Best comment of the
let's
podcast.
not go off
Best
script
comment.
and just rip ESPN, but whatever. That is it. That is our in-depth NHL preview.
Nathan McKinnon!
We will continue to talk NHL.
Hey, Seth, who's that player on Chelsea? Just had to get one of those in
We had to
there.
get him right at the end.
Got injured, poor baby.
Speedy recovery to Murata.
Yeah.
We should be back in a week. We touched at the beginning, like we said, on the U.S. Soccer World Cup qualifiers. We could spend 30 to hour on the international qualifiers. We needed to get in an episode
Yeah, there's
because it's been a while.
South America stuff going on. The Euro second place playoff will be decided in a week or so. So there's plenty more stuff we could have talked
and we'll
about.
get back on our regular schedule talking NFL and
After all the holidays.
Premier League. It's just like they're currently ongoing right now, and there's no point of talking about them. Talking to them.
Hello, Sukkot.
No, I was like, hello, Liverpool. Hello, Newcastle. But go Cowboys against the Rams. Kickoff is right now.
Rammies!
And again, please, all 5 of you who are listening to this right now, some sort of feedback, input, questions. Tell your friends so we can double it to 10. We've seen the view counts on YouTube decrease for whatever reason, so we want to figure out why that is. But we're trying to do the best that we can and improve. And we thank you for listening. And go Kings, go!
Quack.
What does an avalanche make?